Former advisor, Xi Jinping is preparing for the worst. CCP again stirs strong unemployment storm among college students in 2024. Famous Chinese mathematician, China's technology could set back at least 20 years. China's Fujian carrier begins sea trials, two key disadvantages compared to U.S. aircraft carriers. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Former advisor, Xi Jinping is preparing for the worst. The CCP's long-postponed third plenum, which traditionally should have occurred last fall, is finally scheduled for this July. The extensive 6-month delay has sparked widespread speculation. Observers speculate that Xi Jinping might use this occasion to introduce his wife, Peng Liyuan, into the political arena. Commentator Jiang Sench highlights Xi's significant hold on power but notes his lack of a reliable successor, a vulnerability that could invite political upheaval, especially considering Xi's advancing age and potential health complications. Thus, introducing Peng as a successor might be a strategic move to ensure political continuity. Following the 20th National Congress, China is grappling with an escalating economic crisis, further intensified by deep internal conflicts within the CCP's senior ranks. Xi's appointees, including Foreign Minister Qin Gang and Defense Minister Li Shangfu, were abruptly removed from office. Additionally, the Rocket Force underwent a complete purge of its upper echelons, and the Strategic Support Force, one of the 5 military branches, was disbanded. With all sectors, political, economic, and foreign affairs, experiencing turbulence, the global community is keen to see if the third plenum will introduce systemic reforms. However, Du Wen, a former legal advisor to Hu Chunhua, who now serves as vice chairperson of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, believes the plenum holds no promise of substantial developments. In a recent overseas blog post, Du highlighted that China's current political and economic climate faces its most severe challenges since economic liberalization began, with diplomatic tensions at their highest since the June 4 massacre at Tiananmen Square in 1989. Du pointed out the worsening crises of political retrenchment, increasingly harsh domestic policies, and diplomatically irrational actions that lead to repeated poor decisions on critical issues. He emphasized that without major and foundational political reform, these issues are likely to worsen. He also expressed skepticism about the CCP's capacity for significant political transformation under its current system. Focusing on Xi Jinping, Du remarked that the leader is perpetually preparing for the worst outcomes. Xi's strategies and decisions primarily aim to secure the ruling class's interests, which might seem contradictory externally but are internally consistent. According to Du, Xi has consistently prepared for the gravest scenarios throughout his leadership. Du concluded that the primary role of this third plenum might simply be to endorse Xi's past decisions, both the successes and failures, and to persist in those established directions, however misguided they may be. CCP again stirs strong unemployment storm among college students in 2024. Unemployment among university students has become a long-standing problem amid China's economic downturn. In 2024, the number of graduates from Chinese higher education institutions is expected to hit a record high of 11.79 million, an increase of 210,000 from 2023 and 1.03 million from 2022, undoubtedly making this the CCP's most pressing challenge currently. First quarter data from the CCP's National Bureau of Statistics revealed that unemployment rates for young people aged 16 to 24 were consistently above 14%, with a slight increase noted during the period. This trend suggests that despite reported GDP growth, unemployment remains a critical issue. Typically, unemployment rates inversely correlate with economic growth. Internationally, this relationship is encapsulated in Okun's law, formulated in 1962 by American macroeconomist Arthur Okun. The law posits that higher GDP growth leads to lower unemployment rates, with a 1% increase in output corresponding to a 0.5% reduction in short-term unemployment rates. In contrast to Western practices, the CCP's unemployment figures only reflect urban unemployment, which primarily comprises college graduates and 300 million migrant workers. However, these migrant workers are not included in the urban unemployment surveys, making it challenging to apply Okun's law in China due to the absence of accurate data. The CCP claims that each percentage point increase in GDP could create jobs for about 2 million people. However, with annual graduate numbers around 12 million, China's economy would need to grow by 6% just to keep up. Actual growth in 2023 was reported at just 1.5%, which was only enough to provide jobs for about 3 million, leaving the vast majority of new graduates unemployed. Despite an official annual GDP growth rate of 5.3% for the first quarter of 2024, the persistent high unemployment rates contradict these optimistic economic indicators. CCP clampdown on private sector triggers surge in graduate unemployment. CCP's aggressive policies against private businesses are significantly impacting graduate unemployment rates in China. Statistics from China's National Bureau show that while state-owned enterprises have shed over 10 million jobs in the past 20 years, private businesses have dramatically increased employment, absorbing 240 million more employees and raising their share of urban jobs from 20% to 60%. Despite this, the government's actions such as public-private mergers, asset confiscations, and targeting entrepreneurs have severely constrained private sector growth and stability. The pandemic has further strained this sector, leading to the closure of 460,000 businesses in 2022 and a continued high rate of closures into 2024, affecting nearly 459,000 catering businesses in the first quarter alone. Small to medium enterprises, vital for employment, especially for new graduates, are experiencing a downturn in job creation. This downturn is confirmed by the low employment index for small manufacturing firms and is exacerbated by the private sector's crisis of confidence, prompting even large businesses to lay off staff and small businesses to hesitate in hiring. A survey of 1410 companies revealed a general reluctance to recruit or expand, underscoring the widespread apprehension within the private sector. New quality productivity fails to address high unemployment rates. China's strategic shift towards new quality productivity sectors like new energy and advanced technologies is failing to curb the high unemployment rates, contrary to the CCP's claims of fostering high-quality economic development. While the service sector historically absorbs more employment per GDP unit than manufacturing, recent policy and investment shifts towards these new sectors have not translated into equivalent job creation. The chip industry is a stark example, facing a massive downturn with over 10,900 companies closing in 2023 alone, resulting in significant job losses. Assuming an average employment of about 50 people per company, the chip industry alone saw over 5 million job losses in 2023. Similarly, the automotive industry, especially new energy vehicles, such as Gawa, WM Motor, GAC Mitsubishi, Tianji, Iwais, etc., is struggling with profitability and sustainability, leading to widespread layoffs and company closures. For workers in the new energy vehicle sector, 2024 is shaping up to be a year of inevitable layoffs. The situation at Tesla further underscores the volatility within the new energy vehicle market. On April 15, Elon Musk announced a workforce reduction impacting more than 10% of employees, approximately 14,000 individuals. A Tesla China employee revealed that the layoffs predominantly affected the sales, delivery, and after-sales departments, with some experiencing cutback rates as high as 40%. Subsequently, on April 24, the issue of Tesla breaking promises to new graduates became a trending topic on Chinese social media. Government denies unemployment rate surpasses 50%. As China's economic conditions deteriorate, major cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen are on the decline. The withdrawal of foreign businesses and a general downturn across various sectors are driving up local unemployment and diminishing career opportunities, prompting some university graduates to seek work back in their hometowns. According to the report Blue Book on the Quality Tracking and Assessment of Chinese University Graduates from 2018 to 2022 by the McCroskey Research Institute of Higher Education Consulting Agency of China on November 13, 2023, there has been a notable shift with more graduates choosing to work in smaller county towns, rising from 20% in 2018 to 25% in 2022. Jobs in education and government/public administration are particularly prevalent in these towns, with employment rates significantly above the national average. Salaries and job satisfaction for these positions have also seen an increase from 2018 to 2022. Despite this, the CCP's promotion of this rural employment trend hides a deeper issue of nepotism, where jobs are often reserved for local elite families, continuing a tradition of inherited positions within the party's structure. This practice was highlighted in a story about a young boy planning to succeed his father as a bank head in our previous report, which went viral as an example of entrenched nepotism. Furthermore, critiques from locals, including a tourism student named Wei, challenged the rosy picture painted by official statistics. Wei points out that job opportunities in county towns are limited, with significant wage disparities compared to larger cities. He claims that real unemployment rates are much higher than reported, a sentiment echoed by Peking University's Associate Professor Zhang Dandan, who estimated the youth unemployment rate could be as high as 46.5%. The real extent of unemployment in China is difficult for outsiders to grasp. University students, as one of the most intellectually active societal groups, face immediate unemployment upon graduation, which is likely to exert substantial pressure on social stability and the CCP regime. Data from the China Institute of Labor and Social Security indicates that the number of young people aged 16 to 24 will reach a peak of 161 million by 2033, suggesting that youth unemployment will continue to be a nightmare for the CCP in the coming decade. Famous Chinese mathematician, China's technology could set back at least 20 years. Following the introduction of concepts such as high-quality development and new quality productivity, Xi Jinping has faced ongoing public doubt. In an April 26 public address reported by NetEase, renowned mathematician and physicist Xingtong Yao warned, if China persists with its current scientific and technological trajectory, we could see a regression in our technological standards by at least 20 years, which is quite alarming. Yao attributes this potential decline to China's over-reliance on imported technology in critical sectors, such as semiconductors and aerospace, and a deficiency in autonomous innovation. This dependency places China in a vulnerable position if global conditions shift. Furthermore, China's focus on rapid economic growth is stifling essential research efforts. Yao's remarks have ignited widespread discussion among academics and industry experts, many of whom share his concerns about the direction of China's tech development. The debate has also resonated online, with one netizen remarking sarcastically, "Xingtong Yao always preaches learning from others, but not to always resort to theft." As the U.S. tightens tech sanctions on China, the challenges for China in acquiring foreign technology are mounting. Starting in early October 2022, the U.S. tightened export controls on semiconductors to China, effectively blocking Chinese access to advanced chips and related equipment, and blacklisted 31 Chinese entities including Yangtze Memory, the country's leading memory chip manufacturer. Analysts suggest that these sanctions, along with Xi Jinping's emphasis on political power, are hampering China's technological ambitions. In a critique, overseas media analyst Yan Chungo sarcastically noted that while Elon Musk's Starship has successfully landed, China remains preoccupied with Xi's ideologies, causing CCP officials to parrot his doctrines. This politicized environment hampers technological innovation as the regime prioritizes control and suppression over scientific advancement. According to Yan, Xi Jinping is severely damaging China's economic and technological progress while expanding governmental control mechanisms. China's Fujian carrier begins sea trials, two key disadvantages compared to U.S. aircraft carriers. On Wednesday, May 1, the Chinese Communist Party's aircraft carrier, the Fujian, embarked on its initial voyage from Shanghai at 8 a.m. to conduct its inaugural navigation tests in designated waters. According to Xinhua, the official CCP news agency, this trial primarily aimed to assess the reliability and stability of the carrier's power and electrical systems. The Fujian's distinctive feature is its electromagnetic catapult system, unlike its CCP counterparts, the Shandong and Liaoning, which use ski jump decks. In theory, the Fujian system could launch larger and heavier aircraft. The Global Times, a CCP-run newspaper, cited an unnamed expert claiming that the Fujian visually compares to the most sophisticated carriers in the world today. However, despite the CCP's claims about the Fujian's advanced catapult system, a point still under international scrutiny, CNN highlights that all U.S. carriers surpass the Fujian in terms of power and size. U.S. carriers are nuclear-powered, allowing them to operate indefinitely at sea with adequate supplies. In contrast, the Fujian uses conventional power, restricting its range as it must periodically dock for refueling. The USS Gerald R. Ford, in particular, represents the pinnacle of aircraft carrier technology and is the only active carrier equipped with an electromagnetic catapult. It boasts robust nuclear reactors that offer greater electrical output and require less maintenance. It's also designed to accommodate future directed energy weapons. The other 10 U.S. Nimitz-class carriers use steam catapults for rapid aircraft deployment. Additionally, U.S. carriers are generally larger than the Fujian, which displaces 80,000 tons, more than the Shandong and Liaoning but less than the 100,000-ton Gerald R. Ford and the 87,000-ton Nimitz-class carriers. The larger size of U.S. carriers enables them to carry approximately 75 aircraft, compared to the Fujian's estimated 60. Experts also note that U.S. carriers benefit from additional catapults, larger flight decks, and more elevators, facilitating quicker aircraft deployment. According to John Bradford of the Council on Foreign Relations, these features help maintain U.S. superiority in carrier capabilities. U.S. report, CCP carriers political symbolic rather than military role. A report from the U.S. Congressional Research Service, CRS, in January highlighted that the CCP's carriers, including the Fujian and its two siblings, serve more of a political role than a military one. The report noted, these carriers hold particular value for the CCP politically, as they help project the image of China as a global powerhouse. However, in any potential conflict scenario where they face the U.S. Navy and Air Force, these Chinese carriers are exceedingly susceptible to American strikes. The Japan Times highlighted the CCP's likely strategic deployment of these carriers in the Indo-Pacific to dominate regions like Taiwan and the South China Sea, a move seen by Taiwan as heightening the threat level. Despite technological claims, operational challenges persist, particularly with the gap in crew training versus operational needs. Experts credit the U.S. Navy's superior capabilities to its extensive hands-on experience with carriers, an advantage that China, having started carrier operations only in 2012, cannot match. According to the Financial Times, Maya Nouns from the International Institute for Strategic Studies, IISS, pointed out that while the Fujian's launch was highly symbolic, operational competence is key. Nouns commented, a decade into its service, the Liaoning is still learning how to effectively manage a carrier strike group. According to Wikipedia, Liaoning is a Chinese Type 001 aircraft carrier. As the first aircraft carrier commissioned into the People's Liberation Army Navy Surface Force, it was originally classified as a training ship, intended to allow the Navy to experiment, train, and gain familiarity with aircraft carrier operations. Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.